Mastering Your Inner World, the revolutionary path to true thriving. Welcome to a journey that will challenge everything you thought you knew about success, happiness, and personal growth. Today, we're diving deep into a revolutionary concept that has the power to transform not just individual lives, but our entire society. This isn't about quick fixes or surface level changes. It's about a fundamental shift in how we approach our inner worlds and, by extension, how we show up in the outer world. I'm honored to share with you the profound insights I've gained from an extraordinary visionary who's reshaping the landscape of personal development and empowerment. Deliqua Isom, a trailblazing leader in the field of human potential, has been making waves with her innovative approaches to personal growth and her unwavering commitment to helping others unlock their full potential. Her work isn't just changing lives, it's sparking a movement that challenges the very foundations of how we think about thriving and success. Deliqua's impact on making the world a better place cannot be overstated. She's not just helping individuals, she's catalyzing a shift in consciousness that has the potential to ripple out and transform communities, organizations, and even entire cultures. Her message is both simple and profound. Thriving isn't the absence of struggle, it's the mastery of your inner world. Let that sink in for a moment. Thriving isn't the absence of struggle, it's the mastery of your inner world. This idea flies in the face of everything we've been taught about success and happiness. It's a paradigm shift that turns conventional wisdom on its head and opens up new possibilities for how we can live, work, and relate to ourselves and others. For too long, we've been chasing an illusion. We've bought into the idea that if we could just eliminate all negative thoughts and emotions, if we could just reach that elusive state of perpetual calm and positivity, then we'd finally be happy. We've been sold the notion that success means never struggling, never doubting ourselves, never feeling anxious or overwhelmed. But what if I told you that this pursuit is not only futile, but also counterproductive? What Deliqua helped me understand and what I want to share with you today is that true thriving isn't about eradicating our struggles or achieving some perfect state of constant positivity. It's about developing a deep understanding and mastery of our inner landscape. It's about cultivating the emotional intelligence, psychological resilience, and self-awareness to navigate the inevitable storms within ourselves. This isn't about positive thinking mantras or superficial fixes. It's not about slapping a smile on your face and pretending everything's okay when it's not. It's about something much more profound and transformative. It's about learning to recognize the triggers of anxiety, understand the roots of depression, and dismantle the limiting beliefs fueling imposter syndrome. Not to eliminate them entirely, but to lessen their grip and prevent them from dictating our actions and our lives. Think about it for a moment. How many times have you felt that if you could just get rid of your self doubt, you'd finally be successful? How often have you thought that if you could eliminate your anxiety, you'd finally be happy? But what if those very struggles are not obstacles to be overcome, but tools for growth and self discovery? Deliqua's approach turns this conventional wisdom on its head. Instead of seeing our inner turmoil as something to be vanquished, she encourages us to see it as a source of valuable information. Our anxieties, our fears, our self doubts, they're all trying to tell us something. They're not the enemy, they're messengers. And when we learn to listen to them, to understand them, to work with them rather than against them, that's when we truly begin to thrive. This shift in perspective is revolutionary. It means that thriving isn't about reaching some mythical state where we never feel scared or sad or uncertain. It's about developing the skills and the mindset to navigate those feelings effectively. It's about building a relationship with ourselves that's based on understanding and compassion rather than judgment and criticism. Let me share with you a powerful example from my conversation with Deliqua. She told me about a client of hers, a high-powered executive who seemed to have it all together on the outside. This woman was successful by every external measure. She had the corner office, the impressive salary, the respect of her peers. But inside, she was constantly battling feelings of inadequacy and fear. This executive had spent years trying to silence her inner critic, to push down her feelings of self-doubt. She believed that if she could just eliminate these negative thoughts, she'd finally feel successful and happy. But no matter how hard she tried, the voice of self-doubt persisted. And the more she fought against it, the louder it seemed to become. Working with Deliqua, this executive learned a different approach. Instead of trying to silence her inner critic, she learned to listen to it. She discovered that her self-doubt wasn't just random negativity, it was rooted in deep-seated beliefs about her worth and her capabilities. As she began to explore these beliefs, to question them, to understand where they came from, something remarkable happened. Her self-doubt didn't disappear entirely, but it lost its power over her. She learned to recognize it as a familiar voice, one that she could acknowledge without being controlled by it. And in doing so, she found a sense of inner peace and confidence that had eluded her for years. This story illustrates a crucial point. Thriving isn't about eliminating our struggles, it's about changing our relationship with them. It's about developing the skills to navigate our inner world with grace and wisdom. But how do we do this? How do we begin to master our inner world? Through my conversation with Deliqua, I identified three key strategies that can help us on this journey. The first strategy is cultivating self-awareness. This means developing the ability to observe our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors without judgment. It's about becoming a curious observer of our own inner experiences. When we feel anxious, instead of immediately trying to push the feeling away, we can ask ourselves, what's triggering this anxiety? What thoughts are accompanying it? Where do I feel it in my body? This kind of self-awareness allows us to gather valuable information about ourselves. It helps us identify patterns in our thinking and behavior. And most importantly, it creates a space between our experiences and our reactions to them. This space is where our power lies. It's where we can choose how to respond rather than simply reacting on autopilot. Deliqua shared another powerful story that illustrates this point. She worked with a young entrepreneur who was constantly overwhelmed by stress and anxiety. Every setback in his business felt like a personal failure, and he was on the verge of burning out. Through practicing self awareness, he began to notice a pattern. Whenever he faced a challenge, his mind would immediately jump to worst case scenarios, triggering a cascade of anxiety. By simply observing this pattern without judgment, he was able to create a small but crucial space between the trigger and his reaction. In that space, he could remind himself that his thoughts were not facts but habitual responses. Over time, this practice allowed him to respond to challenges with more clarity and less emotional reactivity. His business began to thrive, not because he eliminated all problems, but because he learned to navigate them more skillfully. The second strategy is practicing self-compassion. This is perhaps one of the most powerful tools we have for mastering our inner world. Self-compassion means treating ourselves with the same kindness and understanding that we would offer to a good friend. So often we're our own harshest critics. We berate ourselves for our mistakes. We judge ourselves for our imperfections. We push ourselves relentlessly in pursuit of some ideal version of ourselves. But Deliqua's work shows that this approach is counterproductive. When we're constantly at war with ourselves, we create inner turmoil that makes it impossible to thrive. Self-compassion, on the other hand, creates a sense of inner safety. It allows us to face our struggles and our imperfections without fear. When we can say to ourselves, this is hard, but I'm here for you, we create a foundation of emotional resilience that can weather any storm. Deliqua shared a touching story about a client who had struggled with perfectionism her entire life. This woman held herself to impossibly high standards and was constantly disappointed in herself. Through practicing self-compassion, she learned to speak to herself with kindness, especially in moments of failure or difficulty. The transformation was profound. Not only did her mental health improve, but she found herself taking more risks and achieving more, precisely because she was no longer paralyzed by the fear of not being perfect. The third strategy is reframing our relationship with discomfort. So often we see discomfort, whether it's anxiety, sadness, or uncertainty, as something to be avoided at all costs. But what if we could see it differently? What if, instead of running from discomfort, we could learn to lean into it? Deliqua encourages us to see discomfort not as a sign that something's wrong, but as an opportunity for growth. And when we're willing to sit with our discomfort, to explore it with curiosity rather than fear, we often discover valuable insights about ourselves and our lives. This doesn't mean we seek out suffering or ignore genuine threats to our well-being. It means we stop seeing every uncomfortable feeling as an emergency that needs to be fixed. It means we develop the capacity to tolerate discomfort. knowing that on the other side of it often lies growth, insight, and resilience. Deliqua shared a powerful example of this principle in action. She worked with a client who had a deep fear of public speaking. This fear was holding him back in his career and causing him significant distress. Instead of trying to eliminate the fear, Deliqua encouraged him to lean into it. He started small, speaking up more in meetings, then gradually working his way up to larger presentations. The fear didn't disappear, but as he learned to tolerate it, to work with it rather than against it, something remarkable happened. He discovered that he had important things to say and that his voice mattered. The discomfort of speaking publicly became a portal to greater confidence and self expression. Today, he's a sought after speaker in his industry, not because he eliminated his fear, but because he learned to harness its energy. As I reflect on these strategies, I'm struck by how radically they differ from the quick fix solutions we're often sold. There's no magic pill here, no instant transformation. Mastering our inner world is a lifelong journey. It requires patience, practice, and a willingness to face ourselves honestly. But the rewards of this journey are immeasurable. When we learn to navigate our inner world skillfully, we unlock a kind of freedom and resilience that no external circumstance can take away from us. We become less reactive, more intentional in our choices. We develop a deep sense of self trust that allows us to take risks and pursue our dreams without being paralyzed by fear of failure. Moreover, as we learn to master our own inner world, we become better equipped to connect authentically with others. We develop a capacity for empathy and understanding that enriches all our relationships. We become leaders who can inspire and support others, not because we've eliminated all our own struggles, but because we've learned how to navigate them with grace and wisdom. This brings me to a crucial point that Deliqua emphasized in our conversation: the importance of community in this journey of inner mastery. While the work of understanding and navigating our inner world is deeply personal, it's not something we have to do alone. In fact, trying to do it alone often keeps us stuck. Deliqua spoke passionately about the power of creating spaces where people can come together to share their struggles, to learn from each other, and to practice these skills of self awareness, self compassion, and resilience. Whether it's through therapy, support groups, or simply cultivating deep and authentic friendships, having a community that supports our growth is invaluable. In these communities, we learn that we're not alone in our struggles. We see that even the people we admire and look up to have their own inner battles. And in sharing our experiences, we not only find support, but also gain new perspectives that can help us navigate our own challenges more effectively. Deliqua shared a beautiful example of this in action. She runs workshops where people from all walks of life come together to work on mastering their inner worlds. In one of these workshops, a CEO and a stay at home parent found themselves sharing similar struggles with self doubt and overwhelm. Despite their vastly different life circumstances, they were able to support and learn from each other. This connection not only helped them individually, but also broadened their understanding of the universal nature of inner struggles. As we near the end of our time together, I want to circle back to the big idea we started with. Thriving isn't the absence of struggle, it's the mastery of your inner world. This idea has the power to transform not just individual lives, but our entire culture. Imagine a world where we no longer chase an impossible ideal of constant happiness and ease. Imagine instead a world where we embrace our full humanity, our joys and our sorrows, our strengths and our vulnerabilities. Imagine a world where we see our inner struggles not as weaknesses to be hidden, but as opportunities for growth and connection. This is the world that Deliqua Isom is working to create, and it's a vision that I find deeply inspiring. It's a world where we're no longer at war with ourselves, where we can bring our whole selves to our work, our relationships, and our communities. So as we conclude, I want to leave you with a challenge. This isn't just about listening to inspiring ideas. It's about taking action to transform your life and, by extension, the world around you. Starting today, I challenge you to become a scientist of your own inner world. Pay close attention to your thoughts, emotions, and bodily sensations. Notice the patterns, the triggers, the habitual responses. but do this with curiosity and compassion, not judgment. When you encounter difficult emotions or challenging thoughts, resist the urge to push them away. Instead, get curious. Ask yourself, what is this feeling trying to tell me? What need is going unmet? What old belief is being triggered? Practice self compassion daily. Speak to yourself as you would to a dear friend. When you make a mistake or face a setback, instead of harsh self criticism, try saying, this is hard, but I'm here for you. We'll get through this together. Lean into discomfort. The next time you feel anxious or uncertain, instead of immediately seeking escape, pause. Take a deep breath. Can you sit with this feeling for just a moment longer? What might you learn if you allow yourself to experience it fully? Seek out or create a community where you can share this journey. Find people who are also committed to mastering their inner worlds. Share your experiences, your struggles, and your triumphs. Learn from each other, and perhaps most importantly, be patient and kind with yourself. Remember, this is a lifelong journey. There will be setbacks and challenges along the way, but with each step, each moment of awareness, each act of self compassion, you're building the foundation for a life of true thriving. As you embark on this journey, know that you're part of a movement that's challenging outdated notions of success and well being, a movement that's creating a more compassionate, resilient, and authentic way of being in the world. You have within you everything you need to master your inner world. The power to thrive, to live with purpose and fulfillment, doesn't lie in eliminating struggle, but in learning to navigate it with wisdom and grace. So I ask you, are you ready to embark on this journey? Are you ready to challenge everything you thought you knew about success and happiness? Are you ready to master your inner world and discover what it truly means to thrive? The choice is yours. The journey starts now. Let's create a world where we no longer run from our struggles, but embrace them as opportunities for growth. A world where we treat ourselves and each other with compassion and understanding. A world where we all have the tools to navigate our inner landscapes and live lives of true authenticity and fulfillment. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of what it means to truly thrive. Now go forth and master your inner world. The journey of a lifetime awaits you.